and welcome to Nintendo Bros Podcast. This is Pete.
And this is Derek.
And you're joining us, and this morning we are going to talk about none other than... What are we talking about, Derek?
We're talking about Mario Odyssey in particular. We might talk about the other Mario games, but Mario Odyssey.
Yep, we're talking about Super Mario Odyssey. It's been about a year now since it's come out. I know, a little shy of a year, but basically a year. And we're going to kind of compare it to the other 3D Marios. And we're actually really talking about whether or not this game was overrated.
Yes.
Because, I mean, I'm sure you've played it if you're listening and you like Nintendo, so you've probably played the game, maybe beaten it too, so you have your own opinion and you don't need to hear about it. It's not a preview, it's not a review. It's a kind of a look at, what do you think? Do you feel like the reviews reflected, I mean, I'm all over the place here. The game has a 97 on Metacritic.
Yes.
What do you feel it should have in general?
I think it's a great game, and I think there's a lot of great things about the game that we can talk about. But I mean, overall, as a consumer or a player of that game, I'd give it more like an 85, maybe 88.
80? Wow, that low.
Yeah. I'll explain why later, but I mean, I would say a lot of the content is a 9.5 or even a 10, but the overall experience as having fun as a gamer, it's more like an 8. So it kind of averages out to being a high 8, I would say.
Wow, okay, well, I think you think a little lower of it than I do even. I mean, I'm thinking like a low to mid 9. I just think that the 10 perfection type of angle is a little overrated, but to me, I think, I mean, considering something like 3D World got a 93 on Metacritic, I think this should hover around that area, 91 to 93. Maybe,
yeah, I guess
what I would feel.
I could give it a 91. I agree.
Like if I was a journalist, and maybe if I wasn't bogged down by the hype, giving it a 10, having to play it in a week and getting all hyped up about it.
Yeah.
I mean, let's say I had a year to review it, I probably would give it a 9.
Okay, yeah. I mean, that's reasonable.
I'm a pretty harsh critic, though. I mean, I give maybe a couple 10s generation.
Breath of the Wild.
Breath of the Wild, and the last one before that was Last of Us, maybe.
Okay.
GTA 5, The Last of Us.
You gave GTA 5 a 10?
For sure.
Oh my gosh.
But it's, why? Well, I don't want to get too off topic here. I think it's more than the sum of its parts. Much more than the sum of its parts.
Okay.
It's obviously got weaknesses. Every game has weaknesses, but the strengths of GTA 5 are so far beyond its competition. It's like it hasn't been topped yet, and it came out 5 years ago. So
okay.
Anyways, let's talk about Mario.
Let's talk about Mario.
So when it came out, I remember you telling me, you said the game's amazing. I'll love it. 10 out of 10. Has time changed your opinion?
I think not only time, but also just the length I was playing the game for. Maybe it was just my fault for playing the game all in a week. But I must have given you my feedback after 2 or 3 days or whatever. But the more you get to the end, the more you realize how repetitive and kind of stale the game is. I find that I could talk about all the amazing things. I think the controls are extremely tight. It's fun to control Mario. It's great that way. I think it's great. I think the levels are gorgeous. I think the graphics are amazing. I think it has humor. I think there's a lot of great things going for it. But when it comes down to it, it's really not that difficult. The exploration's kind of meh.
And I found it very easy.
And I also just found you do the same. There's so many moons that after 300, you're doing the same thing over and over and over and over again. I find them it was very repetitive. And I'm someone that got all 900 and whatever stars, 890 or whatever it is.
Yeah, I mean, I agree. At first, I loved the way they were approaching moons. I thought it was way more refreshing than, let's say, past Marios with I liked it more than the green stars or the blue coins or things like that.
Yeah.
Just because it seemed awesome. It's wow, you can just fill this whole game with so much stuff. But then after a while, you kind of realize, well, why this one is I'm literally just ground pounding the ground somewhere in the desert and getting a moon.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? Meanwhile, I have to do this. There's other times where early on in the game, like in the desert level where you have to kind of go through that adventure through the pyramid. I really enjoyed that section, and then you fight a boss on the top, and kind of just you're kind of like, what kind of missions are these, right? Like, what's the value of a moon? It kind of became valueless, and then you can buy them from the store.
Yeah.
And then yeah. So, and by the way, for our listeners, this is going to be a spoiler-heavy Mario Odyssey chat, so we're not.
Yeah.
I mean, they are moons in the game. Spoiler, not stars. Should have warned you. Yeah, I mean, I think I agree completely about the moons, and a lot of the missions were just incredibly easy, and it seemed like some of the best gameplay was when you broke off into those little pipes or rooms and went to those other separate areas.
Yeah.
You know what I'm talking about?
I know, yeah.
Those are some of the most challenging parts, but still very basic.
It's funny because the hardest parts in that game were the ones that were frustratingly hard. Like, did you ever play the volleyball or the jump rope?
Yeah, but I didn't even bother going for those tedious.
I know, but I'm just saying, people that want to get all the stars, it's like, to do those, like, how is that fun? Like, those are like supposed to be the difficult ones, but they're difficult in a really unfun way.
Well, there's also comes a point where you're just grinding out for purple coins and yellow coins, anyways. Too, if you want, like, the costumes have a ridiculous price point to them.
Oh my gosh,
for the coins you get.
That's the only thing in the game I didn't do. It's like, I'm not gonna get 30,000 coins.
And I thought that I thought when you bought the moons from the store, they eventually like became sold out. So buying the moons was part of getting the 999 moons too. So I started like blowing all my money on moons. And then you tell me that those don't really count or something weird. Like, I'm still confused over how the moons in the store work, by the way.
I think, yeah.
It's not clear to me. I wasted so many goddamn coins on them. I just, you know what I mean?
Yeah. That was a weird. It didn't explain it well.
Yeah, and I mean, I like the extra costumes, but they didn't do anything. So I tinkered with them a bit, and then I stuck to regular Mario, or Mario with the. You know which one I liked is the one that wasn't the regular Mario, but the had kind of like an older look to it, like a
the N64 Mario.
No, it wasn't the N64 one. It was another one. It was like classic Mario, and he had it was more like a faded color.
Oh, I do know what you're talking about.
The patchwork was different on the overalls. Yeah. Anyways. Yeah, I mean, and the other thing I think is that where it's interesting, it's like they didn't want to go for a more classic feel and kind of gave us these more unique levels. Like, there wasn't really the classic Mario style level, if you think about it. They were all kind of had their unique art style. Yeah. And where on one hand I really appreciate that, in the same way that I appreciate something like Super Mario Sunshine's art style. I don't think they knocked it out of the park with it. I think that some of the levels like Metro City and Cascade Kingdom were great, but they felt too small in the end. In the end, to me, like, they actually did feel a little too small. Mm-hmm. And then most of the levels are kind of like linear paths, like Bowser's level or the weird Lost Kingdom level. Remember that? Like, there's some levels on the main map that are like one boss fight. And even the Ghost Kingdom, I can't remember the name, Ghost Hat Kingdom or something, the first one you go to, the first kingdom, I guess they're called?
Captown.
Captown. Like, some of them just feel like such throwaways.
I know. I would say like there's maybe 4 or 5 solid worlds, and like there's maybe 4 or 5 mediocre worlds, and there's like 3 or 4 that are just like one section.
Yeah, I mean, it's a very weird game, and just like the moons, it's like some of the levels feel like they have more value than the others. Like, I really enjoyed the desert. I really enjoyed the cooking pink lava level. What was that called? The cooking place?
Luncheon Kingdom.
Luncheon Kingdom I really enjoyed. I really enjoyed Metro Kingdom, Cascade Kingdom, Luncheon. Luncheon was probably my favorite. To me, that was the peak of the game.
Oh, interesting.
Yeah. It was challenging. It had a completely new style. But yeah, in the end, I think all the different characters and all these different art styles and worlds, like, it was a great experiment, but it didn't land as much as let's say Mario Galaxy.
Uh-huh.
Like, it just didn't hit that perfection note of art. Yeah. I don't know. It was too collagey, too many different places, and like at the same time, I appreciate that. Oh, sorry, I forgot one of my absolutely favorite levels. The what's the woods level? Woodside. It's a Woodside Kingdom.
I don't know.
Wooded Kingdom. It's called. Am I wrong?
I don't know.
Okay, well, you know which one I'm talking about. The one with like the red kind of structures around the woods. the dinosaur was hiding out in the dark woods. That blew my mind. Like,
Yeah.
it was, but yeah, like, let's not be honest. At least half the levels were kind of whatever, kind of meh.
So here's my question: Would you rather have, let's say they cut out those 6 worlds that were a little bit smaller and added one more big world?
Maybe 2 more big worlds.
Okay.
I still, here's the thing, I still like Bowser's level. I still think that's a fun level, and exploring that was fun. But I don't care for like Lost Kingdom. I don't care for the Ghost Kingdom. Yeah, I guess there's like 3 or 4 that you could easily scrap out. I don't have a list in front of me. Let me pull up a list. Let's do this. So keep talking about something while we're doing. Talk about the music. Just jump topics here. Jump
No, like back to the levels. I mean, the only thing though is you haven't, as much as you can criticize some of the levels, you only played, you didn't beat the whole game. Like there's a bunch of moons that you might have not realized are even like possible to get to.
That's true. I mean, I haven't seen 100% of it. So let's look at the kingdoms here in the end. Okay, so there's Cap Kingdom, Cascade Kingdom, Sand Kingdom, Lake Kingdom, Wooded Kingdom, Cloud Kingdom, Lost Kingdom, Metro Kingdom, Snow Kingdom, Seaside Kingdom, Luncheon Kingdom, Ruined Kingdom, Bowser's Kingdom, Moon Kingdom, Mushroom Kingdom, and then Dark Side and Darker Side of the Moon. So, first of all, let's just all the moons throw away.
Okay.
I think they're not real levels. They're like not even that great. They're cool, but they're not. There's not really even much platforming on them. Bowser's Kingdom is a B. Ruined Kingdom is a D. Luncheon Kingdom, A-. Seaside Kingdom was, I don't know. It's kind of I'm mixed about the Seaside Kingdom.
I didn't mind it, but I think they could have done more with it.
It's like a B-, C+.
Okay.
Snow Kingdom. What do you think about that one? That one is probably one of the weaker ones too. I was shocked by how small that was.
I know. I wish they didn't do it so heavily focused on the racing thing and made it a little bit more outside. You could do stuff.
Well, it's like they built the level around just the racing, not the racing within the level.
Yeah.
So that's probably a D+. The racing was okay, but it would have been like, I would have preferred you just like walking into a building in Metro Town and then like walking inside and then it's this huge, like, or there's a little pipe or something or a little cold, let's say there's like a cold area, like and then you walk over and like, what's going on? And there's a hole in the ground, you jump down, you land, there's like this whole polar bear area and you do the racing. You know what I mean? Like,
yeah.
I think that in the, anyways, we'll talk about my idea later. Anyways, Metro Kingdom, A. I loved Metro Kingdom. And
yeah,
you know what?
To me it's the most fun to just even move around.
Totally, and it feels like Mario running around GTA. And the other thing that was interesting that someone brought up, I can't remember, in some online analysis, they were saying that Metro Kingdom doesn't have a single enemy. Yet there's so much platforming and so much fun. But like, think about it, a kid can play that level and you can't really die unless you fall.
Well, in the underground, but yeah, you're right.
In the underground, yeah, and there's areas where you can fall off the edge. If you're, but for the most part, like you can give that controller to a little kid, and they're gonna run around and totally. It's like a kiddie version of GTA in a way.
Yeah,
it's like introducing them to that. Lost Kingdom. I love the music for this level. You remember this level? It was like had a weird look to it, like it was.
Yeah, it was like the purple toxic water. I know.
Yeah, I loved it, but too small.
I liked it too. Yeah, too small.
Too small. I'm gonna give it a B-.
Okay.
Cloud. Well, you're not getting any scores. Come on. Cloud Kingdom.
That was just the Bowser fight. Yeah, and you know what? It could have been. It could have been a lot cooler. They could have made it a lot of.
That could have been way cooler, like based on the location.
Or they could have given him, the cloud, the Galaxy Cloud upgrade.
Yeah.
Give him that and have him do crazy, like, you know what I mean? Like crazy long jump and then make a cloud. Like, there's a lot of cool things you can do with that.
Yeah. Wooded Kingdom.
I liked it a lot.
A or A+. I really liked it. I loved it.
Yeah, okay. I would more like an A.
Maybe not.
B+.
Oh, I'm thinking an A. Lake Kingdom. I didn't even understand what Lake Kingdom was. I always felt like there's a whole other side that I couldn't get to.
The Lake Kingdom always reminded me of Zora's Domain from Zelda. And
same.
It just, it didn't jive with me.
Well, I was kind of like, okay, it always felt like I was in the intro of a level. Do you know what I mean? I was like, oh, this is the first little cave, and then I get to this giant area, but it was like such a small area.
Yeah.
And like, there's nothing in there that was fun. at all.
If you
Like,
think about like even Mario 64, like Jolly Roger's Bay,
yeah,
that level, like when you're underwater, it's a huge water level. Where like this
yeah.
level
You're
felt
talking
like
about the
really,
one with the snake character and the sunken boat. That one.
yeah, it's like you
That
get
bit was
in and it's
amazing.
huge, and you go to that little tunnel, and it's like there's a whole another big area,
Yeah.
right? Where this one was kind of like it just even the water felt shallow. Like it wasn't like you go deep in the water.
I mean, and even some of the Mario Galaxy levels that were like the fishbowl level and stuff, like they just had more of a creative art design, and you didn't have to like tirelessly explore the area. You just kind of got through it, right? Like,
Yeah.
and it was like it just felt more exciting to explore those unique watery areas in that game.
Yeah.
So yeah, this was generally a pretty weak level to me. Honestly, a D.
Yeah, I'd be the same.
I,
It was probably
I can't remember anything fun
that was
about it.
probably my least favorite, besides for some of the boss levels.
Like to me, okay, you know how even in the snow level, Snow Kingdom, Shiveria, at least you have kind of this little story hook with the polar bears. Is
Yeah.
that what they are? I don't know,
They're like
Mario,
walruses. I don't know.
silly walrus bear things. At least you have that kind of hook. In Lake Kingdom, there's no hook. It's just kind of like, oh, we're missing a dress or something like that, and it was the very weak hook. Like I have no memory from that.
Yeah.
You know? No boss, no nothing.
Mm-hmm. No, I agree completely on that one.
Sand Kingdom to me is like the ideal place. It has all sorts of stuff to do, exploring.
See, Sand Kingdom is like to me what the size all the worlds should be. Like I mean, like
I agree.
Like
Yeah.
just on surface area.
I agree. Yeah, I give it a A.
Like if they made think about if Metro Kingdom was the size of Sand Kingdom. Do you know what I mean? It's like where it's like 4 times bigger.
Yeah, I just wonder if it comes down to a memory thing.
Yeah, I know,
Or
just,
like
or
they
time.
just-
Time.
Yeah, or just like it's like the way they have the game streaming in the memory. Like they could do it. Obviously, I mean, there's open world games on the Switch, but it's just like it'd be like spreading things out a little more. Like even in GTA 5 or pretty modern games like that, like you don't have like vertical packed details. You know what I mean? Like you're traveling a bit to load in the next area.
Mm-hmm.
And it's streaming in that way. So like it's not like in this game it's like every little place is packed with a person or a bouncy thing or a coin. So it's like there's just so much going on, and with so minimal load time, it's for you to like walk in and out of stores, and it's all running at 60 frames per second. I mean, it's running at 720, but still, it's running at 60 frames a second. It's I don't know if the Switch could do that. Do you know what I mean? I don't know if the Switch could actually technologically handle doing like a metro town the size of that.
Yeah.
Although that would be freaking incredible. I mean, that's my problem with the next level here on the list, Cascade Kingdom, which was the first kind of real level you get to. And I remember when I was first playing this, I was like, wow, this is awesome. I really liked it at first, but then you kind of realize how small it is.
Yeah, I was gonna say it's a small level too.
It's like almost tiny, and it almost feels like.
But there's a lot to do in that level though.
Well, let me put it this way: that level would have felt small in Mario Galaxy.
Agreed.
And you know what I mean? Like at least in a Mario Galaxy, that size of place, you would have just like shot over to the next planet
Yeah.
and done a little more, at least a little more, or started somewhere. Like it just felt a little too small. And it's the exploration. I guess going back to the exploration, like if they're gonna make it about collecting a gross amount of moons and exploring every nook and cranny of these levels, then it's I think it's more exciting to explore it when there's a lot of space and things to see and do versus like ground pounding every little place and like collecting purple coins all over. I don't know.
Yeah.
I'm torn on it because I did enjoy a lot of. I'm being very harsh on it right now because a lot of it I did enjoy.
I mean, it is again like controls are tight. The music's great. It looks great. It is really fun. But at the same time, it's you're right. The levels can be small. It gets repetitive. Some of the things you have to do are kind of trivial. Do you think that maybe they were pressured to get this out at a certain time and they didn't actually put as much content as they wanted?
No, I don't. And because they had enough time from the finishing of Super Mario 3D World, which came out in 2013, November. So they've had, 2014, 15, 16. They've had 4 years.
Okay.
You know what I mean? And this game is not probably running on a pretty similar engine to 3D World. I don't know. That's a good question, actually. I mean, I just think they.
I just feel like some stuff felt like it was not rushed, but I just felt like it was like they didn't have the chance to elaborate as much as they wanted to.
Yeah, but even with something like Zelda Breath of the Wild, where they certainly had a long time to develop, and it's incredible in many ways, the end boss feels totally rushed, like they didn't have enough time to finish it. You know, so I think it's like every game gets rushed in a way. You know.
Yeah, yeah.
But yeah, for this game, I wonder if they almost had less levels, and they I remember there was rumors when the Switch was first announced that this game was going to launch with the Switch. Do you remember that?
Mm-hmm.
And they showed it off at that January 2017 Switch unveiling, and it looked pretty far along. And the rumor was that it was finished. And I think in an interview they even said, "Yeah, we're basically finished." And I wonder if any of these levels were put in at the last second, like something like Lake Kingdom. The reason some of these levels like Lake Kingdom or Snow Kingdom are so small is because they added them at the last second. They said, "Hey, you know, we had that race. Why don't we just add one more kingdom?" But I think it's one of those things where it's quantity. If you have quality over quantity, and I personally would have preferred a shorter game that cut out a lot of the scraps. You know,
Agreed.
I mean, the last level here, Cap Kingdom, was. I didn't mind it as an introduction, but as a kingdom, not really that impressive.
Yeah, I agree on that one.
I even found Mushroom Kingdom, like, at first very cool, but after about 15-20 minutes, not very impressive.
Yeah, I agree with that one too.
It was almost disappointing, to be honest.
I mean, yeah, it just wasn't. There wasn't really a lot of interesting things going on there. It was like sure nostalgia, but I don't know if there was actually anything interesting.
I mean, if you really take a look at the whole game, how much platforming was really in the game? You know what I mean? Is it really a platforming game, or is it an exploration?
It's an exploration game. That's what I was saying. It's like the exploration is fine, but that's not really what makes a Mario game or a fun game. It's like you can't just make it exploration. I felt like it was like trying to solely base it on, hey, you can go anywhere and try to figure stuff out, and there's like so much stuff to do, but it wasn't fun to do it.
Yeah, but then again, if you think back to previous Mario games, like in this style, like Mario 64 or Mario Sunshine, like the more open world sandbox style, were those games fun? Like, did those games do it better than Odyssey did in their platforming segments?
I think Mario 64 definitely did. If I think about some of Mario 64's levels, I think the platforming in those levels are awesome. You got Tick-Tock Clock, fun. Rainbow Cruise, super fun. Right? Even
Most people don't like Rainbow Cruise. But I mean, it was Balma. I guess you're right. But I mean, I'm just thinking about going back to like the first few levels.
Yeah, but even Bob on Battlefield was great, right? You can shoot up to the island and fly around. I mean, like for a beginner level, it had a lot of stuff going on.
That's true. It had way more than Cascade Kingdom.
Exactly.
It felt bigger. It feels bigger to me than Cascade Kingdom.
Like, think about Cascade Kingdom. What do? You run through the path, you become a frog, you jump to the top, and then you're done. Where that first level...
No, that's not Cascade Kingdom's the...
Oh, sorry, I meant Cap Kingdom. Yeah, you're right. Cascade Kingdom, there's more.
Cascade Kingdom's like you run on, there's a T-Rex, you go to the top, fight a boss. Like, what else is there? Oh, everything else is like minutia exploration.
Yeah, hidden rooms. Bob Kingdom, I felt was way more.
Exactly.
Yeah.
I agree. So maybe the Mario 64 style of sandbox where it's not too much, but still holds back some restraint,
Yeah, exactly.
Because I mean, I think with the over collecting, it almost dips into that territory of feeling to me a little bit too much like Donkey Kong 64 or even Banjo-Kazooie, which I was not really ever a fan of the Banjo-Kazooie games because it gives me that same feeling that Odyssey does.
Just collecting so much.
You're just collecting for the sake of collecting, and it's silly and fun, and there's silly characters and little missions on the way, and has its moments for sure, but the core gameplay isn't. It's not like Galaxy that's you're just in the next thing and the next thing and the next thing and constantly on like platforming bliss.
Mm-hmm.
You know?
Yeah.
Yeah. So the other thing, to change topics about levels for a sec. is that when I look at the Mario's evolution of the series, and I think of like, I compare it to Zelda. Zelda feels like it's just had its third kind of revolution, or it's in its third evolution series. I don't know if you can like it go from top down and 2D to the 3D N64 kind of style to now the full open world.
Yeah.
It feels like it's gone its kind of third revolution, let's say.
I don't necessarily agree with that, but okay.
Okay, well,
I just think, I mean, like, it's not like this is the only open world Zelda. Sure, it's a bit more. It's, I would say, delinear, I guess. But
you
it's
mean
like,
because of a link between worlds? You mean?
yeah, but I mean, even in Twilight Princess, sure, it's somewhat linear. But you can still like kind of go, like, there's a huge field you can go wherever.
Wherever, yeah, against the walls or destroy some bushes. There's very little you can do in that game that's not along the path. There's once you open up more of the game in Twilight Princess, yeah, you can do a couple mini games, but it's very limited.
You're right. You're right. Breath of the Wild, you can go literally anywhere from first minute. You're right.
Yeah, to a fault. So I think that, and there's a reason it sold 10 million copies in a year. You know what I mean?
Mm-hmm.
So it's huge, and okay. So this is how I interpret it. Zelda has just entered basically its third revolution of what type of game it is. It's gone, from the 2D top-down bird's-eye view style that's still going to the N64 style. I guess I call it Ocarina style. That's linear but guided 3D adventure, and now this new one that's more completely open. Mm-hmm. And I think they're going to continue with the completely open style. Maybe they'll go back to the Ocarina style. I don't know. Anyways, comparing that to Mario, Mario's gone from its 2D style, which still continues today, and then it's kind of opened up with its 3D style. And its 3D style has kind of changed between the sandbox to the more linear 3D adventure, but it's all kind of in that same world.
Yeah.
I don't think Mario's hit that third revolution yet, and I think that's where it can go and where Odyssey could have gone. And hear me out. The third evolution to me is a seamless world Mario. That would be the ultimate Mario to me. A completely seamless world.
Yeah.
Even if some of those quote unquote seamless areas are just pipes. You know what I mean? But like connecting it in a way that's not just like going back to your hub, which is the ship. I thought like those kind of immersion breaking. I want to feel like I'm in the world, fully. That's one idea. Or here's my other idea. Imagine a Mario Galaxy style Mario that had no hub, no level select, no stars. All you had to do was get to the end. Maybe there were some secrets. Yeah, okay, secrets, but one pathway the whole time. Like you're just like going from one. It's like imagine like a 30-hour Mario adventure where you just went for it. Do you know what I mean? And if you paused it and saved it, you saved it. But there was no load screen. There was no menu. There was no pause screen to choose the next level, star count. You know what I mean? None of that.
Okay.
Just you start off, and the little story starts, and you jump in your star spinner thing and shoot off to a play. Like maybe it's Galaxy 3. That's how they do it, right? Like that type of outside the box thinking to make a new gameplay style. And I think Odyssey just kind of went back and said, well, let's do the Mario 64 / Sunshine style. So I think they need that next revolution to really impress people.
I mean, I like your first idea a lot more than the second. Personally, I would actually like if they went the opposite direction. I would like it to be more level based, but more open level based. I actually like what they're doing with Odyssey, but I wish they made it a little more purposeful, so less moons and more levels. I wish they almost like Galaxy 2, maybe 1, where it's like 30, 40, 50 levels, whatever it is, but each one is kind of like almost like Mario 64, basically, to be totally honest. Just like
so, like 15 levels.
Okay, well, Mario 64 is more than 15, does it not?
13, 14, 15, 16. So 17 in Odyssey, and I believe there's, and I think there's 15, but I'm going to look it up right now.
Okay, well, I'm just going to pick a number. Let's say 20, but each level is the size of, let's say, some of the bigger Mario 64 levels, but in totally HD. So, like, the same kind of, like, effort from Mario Odyssey put into those smaller levels. Like, think of Cascade Kingdom times 25. That's what I would like. but
Yeah.
but with actually things to do as opposed to Cascade Kingdom, where it's like you just point A to point B. Like give it 6, 7 stars, 6, 7 moons, whatever, and make them all like a good, fun challenge, interesting.
Or you know what, like having the desert level or the wooded kingdom or the metro city having like 15 levels like that. Because 64, I'm looking at the list of levels right here. There's only 15 levels, but all the just looking at the level screen, select screen, or like the level on the wiki here, the levels, and then looking at the levels here on the Odyssey one, and even though there's more on the Odyssey one, the 64 one looks way bigger to me. Like it just feels bigger when just these one little pictures of the worlds, like they all just feel huger with way more. I guess the right balance of collecting and platforming.
Yeah.
Where Odyssey maybe overdid it, and I think Sunshine certainly overdid it as well.
Yeah, to me, Mario Odyssey just like there just wasn't. It was so much that I know I've said this 1,000 times, but just so much to the point where it's like it just wasn't fun to do it anymore.
Yeah, and I guess the other thing too to talk about is the power ups. I didn't love, like, the cat mechanic is cool. It was fun in some areas, but I don't know if it replaces just the regular power ups.
Yeah, I thought it was cool for this game and whatever, but I would like them to return to old. Like again, let's go back to my idea of Mario 64 with 25 levels kind of style. Think of how many power ups they have in all the Mario. It'd be sweet if there was like all 15 or 18 power ups came back. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
They have the cloud, they have the Tanuki suit, they have the even the shoe. Right?
Oh yeah,
the hammer,
that'd be cool.
the hammer bro, the fireball, they just brought them all back and put them in different levels and just made a whole mechanic around those levels. I think it'd be cool.
Yeah, that would be cool. I mean, I even liked things. I mean, it worked more in the style of 3D World, but the cherry was one of my favorites.
Oh, that one's awesome. Yeah.
Yeah, so I agree. I mean, I think that they could have just had regular power ups, and they could probably make them even more fun. Because a lot of the power ups in Odyssey, I didn't love. I'm not gonna lie. They just weren't like. What was it? The bird that had the spiked face. Okay, well, I have a list here. Sorry. It's called it was like a little bird that you would become, and it would hop and then shoot its spike into the wall. It was in Bowser's level.
Yeah, the needle bird kind of thing.
The needle bird, yeah. Like, it wasn't really that fun to play.
Oh, I thought that one was kind of more I like the idea of it, but I don't think it was executed.
Pokio, they're called. Pokio.
Yes. It didn't feel crisp, smooth.
Yeah, I mean, I'm looking through the playable. Like, there was a lot of different enemies you could control. I actually like playing with the Bullet Bill, one of the best. The Bullet Bill was probably one of the most fun.
Mm-hmm.
But I mean, even playing as like the cheap, or the Koopa, like the Fire Bros, like it's not that fun. Or the thing that could go in lava, the pink lava. What was it, lava bubble? You could control.
Yeah.
Or a Goomba. Like it's neat, but it's not like wow. And then there's things like the Taifu, it's called, the cloud thing that you jump into.
Yeah.
And it's like you just jump into it to like press a button and accomplish a puzzle. And it's not. Is it really a puzzle? Like, you just become it. You blow something. I guess there's a few of them, but I think the Taifu just blew things with wind, and I don't know. It wasn't amazing. It wasn't so intuitive.
It's also kind of. It wasn't misleading of them, but when they announced the T-Rex, it was like, oh wow, they're gonna have some like really cool power ups or like cool transformations, and really that was the coolest one. Everything else was kind of like,
I know, yeah.
Oh yeah,
I know.
The Mario characters, and then some weird like a piece of steak. It was kind of. I wish that
later on you're a piece of steak.
Like if they show us that they're gonna go crazy with the T-Rex and like actually have some crazy power ups, like go crazy with it.
Yeah. And the bosses were pretty weak too, I gotta say.
Yeah, I didn't like the Bowser boss. I thought the dragon was pretty good.
So I liked the final boss. I thought that was fun. You become Bowser, you escape. Like, I thought the ending was pretty fun.
Yeah.
Like the traditional ending, but I didn't care for the rabbits, the Broodals.
Oh, I hated them. What did the dragon was good.
The dragon was fun. It was cool. It felt like a whole different game. Some of them were okay, like the Robo Brood. I mean, I'm looking at a list here, so it's the Seaside Kingdom kind of squid guy that you had to kill, like, and even the Metro Kingdom Mech Wiggler.
Oh, yeah.
But they're all pretty, B- tier. You know what I mean? Nothing that memorable.
Yeah, there's nothing. Yeah.
To be honest, if you really think about it, the Mario series, whether it's 2D or 3D, has always had bad bosses.
Yeah, I agree, because they need to make it accessible to kids, so they have to do like the 3 life, super obvious patterned kind of boss.
I mean, just I dare someone to name me a single boss in a Mario game that's like really good.
The final Mario 64 Bowser.
Even that, it's just spinning it spinning Bowser a couple times and letting go of him at the right time.
Yeah.
I mean, I think they're one of the best endings is actually 3D Land, where it's like it's the classic Bowser on the bridge, but like in 3D. And then remember he like turns into a giant dry bones Bowser, and you like you had to climb up quickly as he's chasing you. Like it was pretty epic. That's probably the best Mario boss as far as epic scale.
Yeah, that was a good one.
But anyways, yeah, I didn't care for the Brutals, and I can't believe how many times they made me fight them.
I think there's some pretty okay bosses in the Mario Galaxy series, because I like when
They're more epic. Yeah, they're great looking, but I don't think they're hard.
But even with the Galaxy mechanic, it got not hard, but they're just kind of an interesting boss to fight.
But a boss should be somewhat challenging. Like I want to be somewhat challenged.
Yeah, but again, Mario's supposed to be accessible, and Nintendo is all about accessible for young kids, right? In Mario especially, it's like every boss in Mario has to be easy to hit, so a kid can hit them whenever and it does damage, and it only needs to be hit 3 times because a kid can't do it longer.
Yeah, but you know what? I don't know if I believe that, because I think by the time someone could really realistically play something like Mario Odyssey and like control a camera and move Mario around.
I disagree. Like 4 and 5 and 6-year-olds can play those games.
Well, like no one's asking them to beat the game though. There's got to be a point that is hard. Like why do they have to be able to beat the game? Is what I want to know. You know?
Yeah.
Like play it, sure, but
I don't know.
I mean, I don't know.
But I agree. The bosses weren't great in Odyssey.
Yeah.
Or most of the Mario games.
Yeah, I think for how many great characters are in the Mario Kingdom, like you could have some amazing bosses. You know, and if they really tried, like imagine like Wario was a boss, and the little rat guy from Mario 2 was a boss, and like, interesting boss fights with classic Mario enemies.
Yeah.
How cool would that be, right?
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. Anyways, back to Odyssey 2. The music you said you really liked. I wasn't that huge on. Like, there's a couple great songs, but I feel like it was better in previous Mario games.
Oh, I liked it, but I didn't. I mean, I don't remember it at all, to be totally honest. So I can't give a. I mean, it was good, but it wasn't like. To me, like, it just wasn't memorable. So sorry, I'm backtracking what I said, I guess, but it was good, but I don't think it was like the end all be all for music.
There's a few songs that I really like the one from Metro Kingdom and the one from what's it called? That kingdom, the clay-looking kingdom, Lost Kingdom. Remember the pan flute in that level?
Honestly, no. The only song I remember is the Mario theme song, like the Jump Up Superstar.
Yeah, which is good.
But
which I do like.
I don't really connect with music that much in video games. Depends. Like some games, yes, but not really this game.
Okay, well, I do, and I think it's a big part of a game. And I feel like this game did a good job, but it didn't do the same job that previous 3D Mario games have. Certainly better than something like New Super Mario Bros. With the terrible soundtrack, but not up to like Tropical Freeze tier. Actually, I don't know. I mean, I love Tropical Freeze, but I do feel like the soundtrack is overrated a little bit. Don't you? Or how do you feel?
Tropical Freeze.
You didn't replay it recently.
No, but Tropical Freeze just on music. Is that what we're talking about?
Yeah, like is Odyssey a better? Does Odyssey have better music?
No, Africa or
Africa.
I don't know why I said Africa. Tropical Freeze has way better music.
Way better. Wow.
Yeah. I just love David Weiss music, and I love all the music from Donkey Kong Country 1, 2, 3. And
you know what? It's almost like in Mario Odyssey where there's 15 levels. Like, think of how many levels and different music there is in Tropical Freeze.
Seriously, and I find all
60 levels.
I would say like 94% of them are hits.
What? We're making me want to play that game right now.
Anyways, so yeah, I guess as a whole, I mean, let's think about some of the things that Odyssey did right, because we've kind of just talked down on it for the last 40 minutes.
Okay.
I think the controls are fantastic.
That's what I was gonna say first. Controls.
Yeah.
I love the new maneuvers that you can do with Mario.
Yep.
I don't really know if they can add the hat, if they're gonna change the gameplay, but I love the mechanics they added.
Mm-hmm.
Where you could have that second jump and dive jump, and there's just a lot to it that it felt clean. So controlling Mario to me was a 10 out of 10. That was like my favorite part of the game. It was fun just to run around and be Mario and do some.
Yeah.
But
you could just run around and jump around. And
yeah,
it's
it
fun,
wasn't the
you know?
actual. That's why I don't really criticize the gameplay necessarily, because I liked the gameplay. It was more the content and the goal, right? Like, actually doing it was fun, but getting to like the actual goal wasn't worthwhile.
Yeah, and the story was kind of like what?
Yeah, but no controls, great. Even when you switched threw your hat on an enemy, every single one controlled the way I thought they would control.
Mm-hmm. I agree. And it all felt good. Even controlling the little scooter bike, or the little scooter. Yeah, that was fun. I also really like the verticality of the levels. Not every level did this, but you feel high up at times, which is really cool. And even in the desert level where you get really high and you got to like take the bird and fly to that pillar and stuff, like there's some cool times where it uses the verticality a lot.
Yeah.
Which I feel like maybe past 3D Mario games didn't do as much. Especially Wooded Kingdom, where you get really, it's like you're climbing up. So I like that feeling in levels. Not all of them have to be like widely spaced out.
Yeah, I agree.
I like how they attempted to do something different. You know, like they went for that kind of unique.
Yeah,
They went for it. You know, they didn't play it safe.
And I
appreciate that.
I mean, I think you kind of disagreed with this, but I like the eclectic, different theme of every single world. I like that we get a taste of the snow world and the forest world and the beach world and the sand world. I like that. I wish they did it even more.
Yeah. Oh yeah. Same here. I like going to like places like Snow Kingdoms, but just not when Snow Kingdom in this game was so small and.
Yeah, I wish they did
pathetic.
them all justice. I would have liked to see an actual Boo mansion.
Yeah, that was completely missing, wasn't it?
Yeah.
Boos in general.
I mean, they had a Cappy Kingdom or whatever, but that wasn't really the same.
No, exactly. And I Dark Side of the Moon, it was okay. Like I liked the final kind of run in Darker Side.
It was okay.
That was
it was
fun.
okay, but I mean, to me, the harder final levels are in the other games.
Oh,
like
in the other games for sure. Yeah, but I mean, it was the hardest level of the game, and it was enjoyable.
It was good, but I don't know. I was expecting a harder challenge.
Mushroom Kingdom, complete miss. Even controlling Yoshi something doesn't feel right.
Yeah.
I don't know if Yoshi, like that is to me how Yoshi would control in 3D, which to me kind of solidifies that I don't think he should have a 3D game.
I agree.
It doesn't feel fun. I don't know what it is. It's like the floaty jump or the way he moves, or she. I guess Yoshi's not really he's boy or girl, but it.
I'm sure someone's gonna reply and tell you that Yoshi has a gender. I think Yoshi does.
I'm pretty sure it's referred to as a he most times, but in certain games there's multiple Yoshis, so it's like there's different species.
Yeah.
And even in Mario Kart you can choose what color Yoshi. So it's like, is that one Yoshi just changing his body color, or is it a series of different Yoshis? You know.
Yeah.
They lay. Plus,
who knows?
He lays an egg, right?
Yeah.
Yeah, I mean, I guess so. In the end, yeah, I guess Mario Odyssey to me is a 9.
Mm-hmm.
It's something I would highly recommend. But I guess do you want to talk about how it ranks in our ranking series? I mean, it's funny. I actually, for our listeners listening in, if there's any, I basically kind of took all the 3D Marios here. There's 64 Sunshine, Galaxy, 3D Land, 3D World, Galaxy 2, and Odyssey. And I put them in order from best to worst. And you can actually, we're going to make another video. It's on our channel probably right now. That is just the ranking. So I don't know if you've seen that first, and here you're going to come and get more of an explanation. But I actually wrote down my ranking, and Derek, you looked at it, and you feel the exact same way.
Identically. But the only thing I have to say is I never had the opportunity to play Sunshine, so that one's just an omission for me.
Okay, well, I have a feeling where I rank Sunshine, you would agree with at the bottom. You saw me play it, though. You saw enough of it.
Yeah, I've seen enough of it. Yeah.
But yeah, Sunshine's it's an very interesting one, and I almost kind of feel where I have a soft spot for Sunshine. I feel the same way about Odyssey, because they're just kind of those oddballs with like the rest of the Mario games you look at, like 64, 3D Land, 3D World in the Galaxy series. Like they all feel like they have more well-rounded art styles and the classic art style of Mario, where Odyssey and Sunshine feel like they tried something different.
Yeah.
And I don't know if that works for me. I don't know if it's really worked. It's almost I'm just lost in thought. It's almost like if the more classic one comes first, like if the Ocarina of Time comes first, then you do the Majora's Mask after. And in the case of Odyssey and Sunshine, they kind of did the Majora's Mask first. Do you know what I mean? Like you're in a whole new land with a whole new set of things.
So
versus the classic.
So what do you think what do you think the next Mario game is going to be like?
So I think the next Mario game is going to be New Super Mario Bros. Deluxe and then Mario Maker, and we're not going to see an original 2D or 3D Mario game for a while. I think we've got like 2 or so years where they're going to pad it out with just the New Super Mario Bros. Collection and the.
But for the next
Mario
3D,
Maker.
but for the next 3D Mario, what kind of gameplay? Like what do you think it will be?
I think they're going to do Super Mario Galaxy 3.
Okay, interesting.
And I think they're going to go back to that more linear approach. Yeah, I do actually. I think that'd be
cool.
I think that they could do more with the better power of the system now. They could go back to that galaxy planetoid approach and that space theme and do so much more.
Yeah.
And I don't know. I think they recognize that the sandbox style is an approach. And I think before they do another, I don't know if they'll do an Odyssey 2 or another sandbox style approach. I think they would just add kingdoms to Odyssey, which they're not doing. Doesn't seem like. So I think they're maybe on to the next thing. That, or they're gonna make another. I mean, after the new Super Mario Bros. And Mario Maker come out, like down the line, they'll have like another 2D Mario that's done with much better graphics and production value. Like, you know, imagine a 2D Mario that had just Donkey Kong Tropical Freeze level set pieces. And
I mean, I think they have to almost do that if
they bring back 2D Mario.
I was gonna say if they bring out Mario Maker, any 2D Mario after that has to be like pushing the like really high end graphics. Like there has to be a reason to play this new 2D Mario.
Exactly, I agree.
If I could just remake the levels in Mario Maker,
it's got to be like the level starts. You jump on a Desi in the water, and you're going down a friggin' waterfall rapids, you know, and there's a guy, you know what I mean? And like you're going down waterfall, crazy type of stuff.
It literally needs to have mechanics that they don't put in Mario Maker.
I wonder imagine if Retro Studios was doing that in the Donkey Kong style. Imagine.
That'd be pretty cool.
That'd be really cool. Like just crazy set pieces, like, you know, chain chomps chasing you through levels, everything.
It would also be cool if they had that kind of production value like out there, but they took kind of the Mario Maker idea and they had all the different eras of the game, different levels.
Yeah, I agree. But yeah,
you just like totally dismiss that. Okay, keep going.
I think at the very least, the next Mario game that comes out, I'd like to see something different.
Well, I mean, this one was pretty different. You didn't love it, and then you said Galaxy 3. So
that would be different. I guess I mean different and not Odyssey 2.
Oh yeah, I agree. I think they should move away from Odyssey.
I don't think they'll make an Odyssey number 2. Like just the approach of putting a 2 on the name Odyssey kind of just doesn't make it feel like an Odyssey anymore. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
It's like you've already been there. What are you going to give me 15 more levels in the same ship? You know, they could just be like, here's 10 more kingdoms, Odyssey 2.
Yeah, I mean, there's a chance they are making DLC.
They made Galaxy 2.
Yeah. But it's funny, it's like as much as we say like, oh, we don't really want an Odyssey 2, it's like there are a lot of people that do. That game did get a 97. It is loved by a lot of people. It did sell 10 million. So it's like,
Yeah, but it does seem like the people there. I've seen a lot of threads on forums, not just Reset Era, about people saying they think it's overrated. And if you look at the Metacritic score, and it's a 9.7 for critics and only an 8.9 for users, and that's out of 3,600 reviews.
yeah. So right where I said the game was scored.
Basically, yeah. So I mean, 89 is.
It's still very good, especially for user 3,600 people voting.
Yeah, look at this one. This one person gave it a 0. Let me read this, guy. All of my friends at school left me and made fun of me for not having the Switch. They told stories about Mario and his friend Canny. I walked into a local GameStop and found Mario Odyssey, it literally says Odyssey, where I played it, and it was not, capital not, good. I came back to school and the kids made fun of me. Still, I had done all I could. I come from a poor family, unable to buy the Switch. I cried every day and fell into a deep depression. Is this real? What kind of review is that? Oh my god. Oh my god.
He's probably just being silly.
Yeah. Look at the other guy gives it a 1. And he goes, the hater reviews he's called. Hi guys, I played Mario Odyssey and this is easily the easiest, the most boring game ever. Everybody complained about Sonic Forces or Sonic 06 for being bad games, but what the so-called good games were still less challenging than the bad ones. What? I get you love this game. Oh, it's so long. Never mind.
I kind of understand what he's saying though. He's kind of saying, a bad game that has some challenge and intrigue is better than a game that looks really nice and well polished but isn't very actual fun.
Yeah, I think it's missing the fun. I mean, man, I almost feel like after this discussion I would lower my review of Odyssey, but I mean, it's already been almost a year. We've let it age. It's not. I mean, with Zelda, I still feel like it's a 10. With Metroid Prime, it's still a 10.
Yeah, I agree.
With A Link Between Worlds, it's still a 10.
Mm-hmm.
With Galaxy, it's still a 10. With this one, it's a light 9. I think 9.1 is what I would give it.
Okay.
To be specific.
Yeah, I would give it high 8, low 9.
But where I would love to see Mario go, it's just a full open world.
I think
One
it'd
big
be interesting.
connected world.
I'm the opposite, but I would gladly enjoy that, but I'm hoping the opposite.
Yeah, okay. So I'll just give our rankings away here because I mean, listeners maybe have seen our other video too. There's Galaxy 1, number 1. I'll go from just revealed our best one. I'll go from the bottom. So number 7 out of the 7 3D Mario games, the worst is, in our opinion, Mario Sunshine. Then number 6 is 3D Land for 3DS. Then number 5 is Mario Odyssey. Number 4 is Super Mario 3D World. Number 3 is Mario 64. Number 2 is Mario Galaxy 2. And number 1 is Mario Galaxy 1. So you fully agree with this list?
Yeah, yeah. Except, one, again, I haven't played Sunshine, and also, if people wanted to rank Mario 64 on revolutionness, whatever the word is, Mario 64 might be number 1, but I still agree that Galaxy 1 and 2 are more enjoyable to me.
And I looked at each one for how inventive and the revolutionary factor or whatever you want to call it, but I also looked at how much I would just want to go back and play them. And that's kind of what edged out, I think, 3D World to Odyssey to me.
Okay.
And honestly, almost edged 3D World over Mario 64. But I had to give it to Mario 64 for the just for the how revolutionary it is and how big it feels and how it almost feels like that's the classic in Mario Adventure.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? I don't know how to say it. Like that's a link to the past of the Mario series.
You mean Ocarina of Time?
Oh, I always pictured Ocarina of Time almost being a remake of A Link to the Past in 3D.
No, yeah.
So it's like that's the classic story is a link to the past. But yeah, I mean, for me, Galaxy easily number 1. Nothing. The music is so incredible. The graphics are so incredible. The feeling of playing it for the first time, and it's one of those games. I think I beat it twice or 3 times. I would play a remaster faster than you can say remaster.
Remaster.
I'm already. Well, it's not out. If it was on the eShop, I'd be downloading it right now. So I would love to see these both re-released in HD. And the funny thing is that they have been. You can get them on Dolphin if people do emulation, but also in China, you can get Mario Galaxy and Twilight Princess on your, I think, NVIDIA Shield, I think it is. Have you heard about this?
Yeah.
And you can play them, and they're up-resed into HD resolutions, and Mario Galaxy looks great. Like, that game, seriously, just give it an up-res and re-release it. I'll pay $60. I don't care. Like, they really need to do that. And even on the Shield, the Wii Remote Aimer is just controlled with the second analog stick, I think. Wait, yeah, because you don't really control camera. You don't really use the camera in that game. And I think you can do it the classic way with the aiming. Like on Switch, they'd be able to do it with aiming. Not quite as good as the IR, but they would be able to replicate it.
Yeah.
So yeah, Galaxy 1 and 2. I had to rank 1 before 2 just because I prefer the kind of story and the unique value. I mean, Galaxy 1 feels like it's more in the space setting.
Yeah.
Where number 2 feels a little more like
there's different
random
worlds. Yeah.
Yeah, number 2 feels a little bit more like whatever's in the collection.
To me, those are so close, but they're so closely rated on my list that I could swap them and not really be upset by that. Like I agree, one's higher, but it's like if people complain and said, "Oh, 2's better," I'd be like, okay, I mean, I can see why people would say that. Yeah. I mean, I love 2, but I think I'd always have to give it to 1. But I did love 2 a lot, and to me, in a lot of ways, it's almost like 1 and 2. They're the same game. I know, yeah. It's like
1/2. But they're sequels, and I think it'll be debated for over 100 years. This list will be debated for over 100 years.
Okay. The list is in 100 years, you have like another 30 on the list.
Hopefully.
Yeah.
But I bet you at least one of these 7 games will still be at the top 3. That doesn't make sense. Well, we'll be in the top 7.
Yeah, I agree.
I think Galaxy will be... Well, we'll see.
Well, you don't know.
Galaxy 3 might take them all down.
I mean, like, that's like... You don't know the revolutionary stuff that will happen, right? What if they make Mario like VR, virtual reality?
That'd be cool.
Yeah. And I mean, like, you don't know how game-breaking 100 years of video games is going to be.
Yeah, I mean, someone would have been making the 2D Mario list back in, like, 1994.
Yeah.
Like, ranking the Marios in his, like, Nintendo magazine. And it's like, yeah, no, people are going to debate this list forever. Like, where can Mario possibly go from here? And it's like, a couple years later, it's like 3D. He's like, oh, man. Magazine goes out of business. So, yeah, next, Mario 64. This almost, to me...
Are we not making a second podcast now?
No, we are, but this is... Remember, I told you it's separate video.
Are we making
or
a separate...
It's written. No, we're just going to talk now. This is just a discussion.
Okay. A little redundant, but okay.
This is real, yeah, but, one video people see it's quick, it's a top 7 list, and here they come to get a little more elaboration and, chill discussion.
Okay.
They can,
Yep.
Anyways, I almost hesitated to put Mario 64 first, in number 1.
Yeah, me too.
But just a little too clunky, Well, a little too old.
I just think Galaxy 1 and 2 refined it better.
Yeah. And another controversial one will be 3D World over Odyssey. And this is something that I have been thinking about a lot and have struggled with a lot, lost a lot of sleep over.
To me, it comes down to I had more fun with 3D World, even though I actually liked Odyssey's controls better, and I even sometimes liked the worlds better. Ultimately, 3D World had a lot of levels, and the number one thing is co-op. I had a lot of fun playing the game with multiple people.
And 3D World was pretty big. There's a lot of levels. It got really hard.
Yeah.
It was pretty much the hardest the 3D Mario's gotten.
I agree. It's super hard at the end.
And just no filler. That's what I love about it. Straightforward. Like 3D with no filler.
And the levels are... I like that you can play one level and then stop.
Yeah, and I mean, even in the Galaxy series, there's a little bit of that, like, oh, you want to explore? Oh, like, go find a coin in that set of bushes. Or, like, go over there and find, like, some coins. Or something like that doesn't really matter. Star bits. Where you just constantly feel that need to, like, explore every little thing. Where in 3D World, that feeling is gone. It's not about that anymore. You know, it's about just playing straight up old school. Get to the end.
Yeah, but the only thing is a little tough to put 3D World on this because 3D World is almost like the bridge between the 2D Marios and the 3D Marios. Do you know what I mean? It's a different kind of 3D Mario than the rest on this list.
Well, you could also argue that Galaxy is closer to 3D World than it is to the 64 Odyssey style. I think.
That's true.
I don't know. I don't.
Yeah.
It's all over the place. Like, because 3D World had levels where you explore a
Yeah,
little bit.
you're right. They have varying levels of linearity.
And it was just like the camera was more isometric because it had to allow for multiplayer.
Mm-hmm.
And I really hope for a 3D World re-release on Switch. That's why, again, I don't think we'll see a new Mario for a while. I think we have a lot of Mario to come, but all remasters or ports. But yeah, I think 3D World, it's funny because when it was first unveiled, people were so disappointed in it. And it just didn't help the Switch. Sorry, the Wii U. And even Odyssey, like, look how well it's done on... It's already sold double what 3D World did already.
Yeah. But I think over time, 3D World got more and more positive praise. I think the more people played it and the longer they played and the farther they got, they realized, this game is actually quite good.
Yeah, I remember the first E3 unveiling, and I was like, oh, cats, and the levels kind of looked the same, like the same old. And then they had another direct, like, around September, and they showed it again, and it was just like, wow, they revealed, like, the cherry and showed, like, all these different environments, and it was really cool, and a lot of creativity in that game. So yeah, I put it above Odyssey. Odyssey's number 5. It's still high up, and then after Odyssey is 3D Land, and I'm not gonna lie, I almost hesitated to put 3D Land above Odyssey because 3D Land is something that when I think about something I want to replay, I really don't want to replay Odyssey. Like, it's so far down my list as far as wanting to replay it.
Oh, see, I agree, but I also feel the same about 3D Land.
Well, but 3D Lands, it's got some of those same values of 3D World of just being easy to pick up and play.
I didn't find it as fun, though. To me, it was a one and done. I beat the game, I liked it, but I would rank 3D Land lower than Odyssey, matter what.
You know what? You might put 3D Land below Sunshine too, depending on your feelings of Sunshine. I think I like 3D Land more than you. I 100% in that game.
Me too.
Had it the day it came out.
Me too.
It was awesome playing that 3D, not 3D like visually 3D with the 3DS, but just 3D environment on a handheld was really cool.
Yeah. Yeah, I mean, I'm not criticizing the game at all. I think it's a great game, and I enjoyed every second of it, but I would definitely rank it lower than Odyssey. Odyssey, I mean, just...
Yes.
3D Land, to me, was just like, it did feel a little samey. It's like a lot of levels were... Where I feel like 3D World really took 3D Land idea and made it way better. Like, way better. Where 3D Land was like, okay, this is cool, we can do this. Where because it's the first time they did the 3D style, but the 2D style of levels, the 2D Mario kind of level style, but in 3D. And I just felt it was a little bit. Some of the levels were bare bones and bland. Where I found,
yeah, you're right.
3D World, like, you actually had environments. There was a lot more going on. You had the co-op. So to me, 3D Land is just worse.
Well, ultimately, that's where it sits on the list. So
yeah,
I agree. I just didn't think 3D Land had anything epic. Like, the epic levels and moments in Odyssey are the highs are high in Odyssey, and they just were more daring and took more of a risk with what they were making.
Mm-hmm. Agreed.
And then last is Sunshine, which I like, but it's way too flawed. I mean, you want to see lack of levels. There's only like 6 levels in Sunshine.
But they're a bit bigger, aren't they?
They're bigger, but they're not great. Some of them are really not fun.
Okay. Another thing to add is the reason I didn't like 3D Land is you have to hold the run button to run.
That doesn't bother me.
That bothered me a lot.
But ultimately, so back to the name of this podcast, is Mario Odyssey overrated? Do you feel it's overrated? Do you think 9.7 is too high? Do you think reviewers overrated this game?
I think it's an amazing game. and I'm not trying to. When we talk about its criticisms, I'm not trying to put it down at all. I think it's an amazing game. I would still rate it highly, but it is overrated.
Yeah, I agree. And it kind of speaks to the fact when you look at 3D World having a lower score on Metacritic, I think it's at 93.
Yeah.
It's interesting to think, was the perception of the Wii U versus the Switch reflected in the review scores?
I think a little bit.
I think definitely.
I think also in a weird, this sounds a little silly, but I think the hype of Breath of the Wild, how well it was perceived and extended to Mario Odyssey. I think people were like, whoa, Breath of the Wild is so revolutionary, game-changing. Wow, I can't believe it's on the Switch. This is so amazing. Oh, now they're having another one, Odyssey. It's the same crazy, game-changing. Whoa, it can be a T-Rex. It's so monumental. It's kind of like, you know, this one was just a good Mario game where it's like they both, just because they're both by Nintendo and they're both like their mainstay IPs, doesn't mean that this one is as revolutionary as Breath of the Wild.
Yeah, and it also kind of says to me, like, I with these reviews, it seems to me that they're always trying to rush them out, and I think they just get caught up in the hype, right? And like we've said, I mean, when I first played Odyssey, and I was loving it.
Yeah, me too.
Mostly.
Me too.
Like, I had the urge to keep playing it, and I finished it. And there was a time when I would have said it's an amazing game. It's a 10.
Me too.
But now that I've let the wine settle for nearly a year and kind of
even played
reflected on it,
and even played more of it. The more you play, the more you realize it really is stale.
Yeah, it gets very stale in the late game. So I think it's like you need that reflection to really give a proper review, and critics don't have the time to do that.
Yeah.
It's not like a movie where you can see it and form your opinion. And even movies, I think you need to kind of reflect on to give a better review. And I just think it's interesting. And you look at reviews like Splatoon 2, and it only has like an 83 or something on Metacritic. And it's like, since that game's been out, it's had so many additions added on, so many more modes and levels, and it's like such a polished game, such a complete package now. It seems the reviews don't reflect the quality of that game, or the sales, or how popular it is.
Mm-hmm.
So maybe I'm trusting reviews less and less.
Yeah, I mean, I like Metacritic just because it's an overall, but ultimately I like to read a few of the. To me, the better way I'm going to say it is this: from 85 and higher, to me, I don't trust reviews. Reviews for me are telling me whether a game is bad or not whether a game is great or masterpiece. It's like, honestly, can you really differentiate between a 98 and a 92 reviewers? I mean, I understand.
Well, somewhat.
I know you can somewhat, for sure, but I'm just saying some of that is in the eye of the beholder, right? Each person can be different. To me, I look for, it's like, oh, is it a 6 or a 5? Okay, that might be a pass then. Or if it's it's a 7, maybe. But if it's an 8.5, it's like, okay, I know that the reviews say this game is good enough to get.
Yeah, that's a good way to look at it. Because, sometimes some of the review scores for things like, Uncharted 4, I just don't agree with. My opinions do not align with those scores. Even Metal Gear Solid 5.
Uncharted 4 is I can't stand that game.
Yeah, and how about Metal Gear Solid 5? Has like, what does it have on Metacritic? Let me check right now. It's something really high. I think it's like 95. Let's see what it's got here. Oh, 93.
For Metal Gear or Uncharted 4?
Metal Gear Solid 5.
Uncharted 4 is the same.
Oh, I thought it was higher.
93.
93. Okay, and then even God of War. I mean, it's at a 94 on Metacritic. I like it, but I think it's, to me, a mid-8.
Oh, I think all of those games are at least 9s. I think all.
Oh, really?
Oh, you know what? I think God of War is a 9. I didn't play Metal Gear, and I think Uncharted is about an 8.5. But I think I liked God of War more than I liked Mario Odyssey.
Whoa.
Yeah, I'm willing to say that. I really did like Mario Odyssey, but God of War, it looks unbelievable. It's a very good story. And
yeah, but my problem with God of War, and I played it, I didn't even beat it, is that the gameplay feels really repetitive, and the fighting is just it doesn't feel as epic as it used to in the old games.
Oh, I disagree. I think that game was very, very good.
Well, maybe I gotta get back into it. I just felt like I was playing it and it was a lot of the same enemies, and it was just kind of like linear path.
The one thing I did actually criticize that game for is the enemy variety. There's only about 5 or 6 enemies. They just
That's
have different.
brutal.
They have different colors. I agree. But,
So I've basically seen all the enemies in the game.
have you seen like the first boss with the big boulder?
Yeah.
Okay, so you see him with 6 different colors basically. But
So, wow. So why am I like?
I just
why
found
should I be excited to keep playing?
I found the story very good. I found the boss fight, especially the last boss fight, awesome.
So the bosses are different. There's a bunch of bosses.
There's I don't want to spoil anything, but there's probably 2 real different bosses, but one of them you fight multiple times. But
Wow.
no, there's
Like,
more
you
than there's more than
realize
2. I'm sorry, there's more than 2.
What kind of game
There's like more.
God of War 1 and 2 and 3 were? Like, think of how many.
This is a very different kind of God of War. I have to agree.
I know, and it's like it's almost like they just looked at The Last of Us and said, "Okay, let's make it God of War: The Last of Us."
It basically is, but
Yeah, exactly. Like
the,
they're
but
copying that same formula.
There is a lot of depth to the fighting. As much as it can be, the problem is the same enemies all the time, but there is a lot of depth. To
Yeah,
the
there's a
fighting.
lot of depth to the jumping in Mario.
Yeah, but that's why they're almost identically rated for me.
Well, you know what? I basically give God of War like a high 8, but in the Mario rankings, I give Galaxy 1 and 2 a 10, Mario 64 a 10, 3D World a 9, Odyssey a 9, 3D Land and Sunshine an 8.
Oh, okay.
So they're all good games.
See, I give
Would you-
3D Land like a 7.5.
Wow. Wow.
I liked it. I just don't think it's as like.
But you're holding that to the Mario standard.
That's
If
what I
there's
mean.
any
That's what I
other
mean.
game-
You're right. You're right. You're right. You're totally right. But
Any
if
other
I'm holding
game.
it up to the other Marios, it's like that game doesn't even come close.
Well, you haven't played Sunshine, so
Yeah, you're right.
you have no opinion.
Okay.
So, are you hoping? What do you think of DLC in Odyssey? Do you think that's going to happen?
I do not.
Do you think the ship has sailed? They would have announced it by now.
I think if they don't announce it in the next direct in the next week or 2, which is coming for sure, then it won't happen.
Yeah, I think you're right there, but I also think that I almost don't want it now after this talk.
Oh, I don't want it.
Yeah, I don't know. It'd be
Unless
weird.
unless it was a very good price to content ratio, I wouldn't want it.
Or unless it was done in a way where it's like, hey, here's a new side story with like Wario stole Peach or something, and here's 3 kingdoms with it's like it's almost it's a whole new thing on its own.
Mm-hmm.
Where they maybe made some of those refinements we talked about, like made it harder, had more platforming, made big levels, and it didn't connect to the other game. But if it's just like, hey, here's a bunch of more moons scattered all over a decent level,
Yeah.
you know, I'm gonna take a hard look at the level before I.
Yeah, I
Well-
would wait on reviews on the DLC before I get it.
Who am I kidding? I would buy it day one, even if it was got bad reviews. It's Mario. I'd have to
Yeah,
have
it's
it.
Mario. You're right.
So, yeah, I think overall, was it overrated? Yes. By critics, yes, it was overrated.
But does that mean it's a bad game? No, not by any means.
No. I mean, I also think that there's a lot of games that critics overrate with Nintendo. I think that the Wind Waker, Zelda the Wind Waker, was grossly overrated.
Oh my gosh, I'm so glad you agree with me on that. I the first time I played Wind Waker was HD on the Wii U. Man, that game is just not a fun game.
No, it's not. It's got so many problems, and it's all to me. It's just a huge disappointment because I love the graphical style.
Me too. And it's just it's so different than the other Zeldas, and some people love it for that. But it's like the stuff that they change is not fun. I don't know. Like they have fewer dungeons. You have to travel so friggin' far. The fetch quest at the end. The fighting is decent, but the gameplay was very easy. The dungeons were super easy, so I didn't like it at all.
I mean, that fetch quest at the end is so bad that it's a whole -1 on the score. Every reviewer should give it a -1 for that. Do you know what I mean? It's
Yeah.
You never played the original. You played the new fetch quest.
Yeah.
Like, you have no idea. Because you didn't have to decipher all the maps, did you?
You know what? I don't even know if I beat the fetch quest. I never fought.
It's
the final
too
boss.
bad too because like the ending is so good, and it's like it's just got some really god awful pacing issues, and it's just. Here's the thing: I'm okay if the game is small. If the game's gonna be that small, you take all those islands and you condense it to a much smaller map.
Yeah.
You know, or because I'm sure a lot of those small areas with just one little island, they could have put two of those on one square.
Yeah, they could like the
map.
grid, the 8x8 grid. They could have put on a 3x3 grid, even. You know what I mean? Like make it like 45 seconds to sail to a new island.
But you know what? Let's slow down because the same way we kind of talked about Mario Odyssey being overrated, I think our next conversation about on our overrated series is Zelda the Wind Waker, and we can talk about why it's overrated, how it ranks.
I'd like to even do Skyward Sword and Twilight Princess. Let's just. I mean, we'll talk about it later, but yes, I think Wind Waker for sure.
I think all three of those games are overrated.
Okay, well you can't. Way to ruin the series.
There's very few games that are not overrated.
Well, we'll talk
of
about
time.
all the Zelda series because I'm sure we'll have some interesting things to talk about, even with Majora's Mask or even some of the top.
Okay, but right now, real quick, name 3 games that you don't think are overrated that are not Mario and not Zelda games. Games that are not overrated.
Not overrated?
Yeah, Nintendo games that are not overrated, but not Mario, not Zelda.
I would say Donkey Kong Tropical Freeze.
Yeah, underrated if anything.
No, I think it's exactly where it should be.
Okay.
I think Star Fox Zero.
I just mean games that have a high praise that are not overrated.
Okay, give me some examples. I'm more.
Here's what I would say. Okay, I would say F-Zero GX.
Okay, never played it.
I would say Mario Kart 8.
Oh, for sure.
And I would say Pikmin 3.
Pikmin 3 I think is overrated.
Wow.
I love Pikmin 2 is better than Pikmin 1, and Pikmin 1 is way better than Pikmin 3. Pikmin 3 is the worst of all 3 by a landslide.
I disagree.
Well, okay.
I think we talked about this before. We have very disagreeing opinions on which Pikmin is better. To me, it's 3, 1, 2.
Yeah, 3's not even close.
Oh, it's the best for sure. The multiplayer is so good.
The multiplayer is pretty good, but oh my gosh, the game's linear. The goal is totally not as interesting. Yeah, we'll talk about this some other time.
Well, you know what? How about this? We'll ask our listeners, what would you rather us talk about next time? Would you rather us talk about Pikmin, ranking the Pikmin series, or ranking the 3D Zelda series?
Okay, yes.
How about that?
Let's throw it out to our listeners.
Yeah, throw it out to our listeners. So basically, all 2 of you.
That make it to the end of this
know.
podcast, yeah.
It's funny. One of our listeners, I posted the video, the Nindies video.
Yeah.
And she commented so quickly. She's a great listener, but I was like, you know, you commented before you even would have been able to finish it because it hasn't been uploaded for an hour and a half, you know?
Yeah.
So she was like, this is a great podcast. And I was like, well, how do you know it? I was thinking in my head, like, well, you haven't really listened to it yet. But I guess that's how much faith she has in us.
Yeah. Okay, are we wrapping this up?
Yeah, okay. Well, this is the Nintendo Bros podcast. Thanks for listening. If you want to help us out, you can comment, subscribe, tell a friend. Yeah, this is Pete signing out.
And this is Derek. See you later.